This is London Real. I heard once that you had said that all politicians should be required to drink ayahuasca 10 times before taking office.
Yeah.
Did you say that?
I did say that, and I actually do believe that to be the case. All across the world, we have a venal class of dishonest, self-serving bureaucrats who are using the power we give them to impose themselves upon us. And I think if they were obliged to confront the truth about themselves, they might do a better job. We've had more than 40 years now of massively financed propaganda called the war on drugs. And ironically, we ourselves, the taxpayers around the world, have paid for that propaganda to be beamed at us. In a way, it's a very Orwellian world that we live in, where language is being used against us to control and manage the way that we think about things. So it's almost impossible to approach the issue of quote unquote drugs without immediately linking it to the notion of abuse or of frivolous, irresponsible behavior. Do we, as adults, have the right to make decisions about what we put in our own bodies and what we experience with our own consciousness without reference to the powers of the state? Or must we seek permission from the state in order to explore our own consciousness? And I find again and again that you get these instant knee-jerk reactions. Oh, they're talking about a drug. This isn't for me. They must be in some way bad or damaged or dirty people whose thoughts may be damaging in some way to me, and the person switches off their mind instantly, and then right then, the government, the state, the big bureaucracies have won the battle. And I don't believe I actually would have written that book if I hadn't had this nudge from this curious plant ally called cannabis. I don't do things by half measures, you know. I was smoking a very great deal of cannabis for 24 years. During those ayahuasca sessions, the intelligence, whatever it is, the mysterious entity that lies behind ayahuasca, spoke to me very, very directly and made it absolutely clear to me that my journey with cannabis needed to come to an end.
Wow.
That I had stepped over the line from sacred use of a helpful plant ally into daily abuse of that plant, and that it was making me a toxic and unhelpful person to others who were close to me. It's astonishing that one plant intervened to stop me working with another plant. There are all kinds of ways in this world for us to challenge ourselves. Some people might do it by climbing a mountain. You know, some people might do it by scuba diving. Well, I've done that, actually, deep scuba diving. Some people might do it by jumping out of an airplane and hoping the parachute will open. You know, there's lots of ways to challenge ourselves, but actually, one of the most profound and challenging ordeals is to drink ayahuasca.
I want to find out about your new book. Can you talk about it?
Very clear documentation on one occasion of the sacrifice of 80,000 human beings over a period of 4 days to inaugurate the Great Pyramid at Tenochtitlan, so that the entire city was just filled with human blood. The demonic realm got involved in the human world and said, we've made things really bad in Mexico already, how can we make them even worse? Bring in the Spaniards. You know, and in a karmic sense, I mean, the Aztecs deserved Cortez.
It was divine retribution almost.
But in just sheer numbers and horror, things got even worse after the Spanish came. Yeah, the 22-year-old Graham Hancock had an awful lot to learn.
Was he driven by ego too?
I would say so, and I don't deny that I'm driven by ego still. You can't get rid of it. It's not something you can just totally get rid of. I'm not Buddha, you know.
Right.
I'm not a bodhisattva. I'm a human being like everybody else. Iboga is the root bark of a bush that grows in Central Africa. And it's called there the plant that enables men to see the dead. It's a sacred duty to see a loved one through the transition, and it's also a tremendous gift that loved one gives to us. Is the opportunity to learn from that transition and to understand what it means. And I wasn't there for my dad. The one thing I'm glad about is that in his last weeks, I did have the opportunity to tell him I loved him, which was something I had never told him before. I'd never said that to my dad in all my years.
Graham, if you're really a tough guy, you'd take ayahuasca and Ibogaine.
Yeah, I'll leave that for someone else to do. Yeah. You know, the active ingredient of ayahuasca is DMT, dimethyltryptamine. I've done some work with pure DMT as well. I've done 11 journeys.
Did you get stoned with Joe? Because one of our fans has asked us if we're going to get high with him.
Joe is just such a lovely, wonderful human being with an incredibly open and inquiring mind, and just very, very gentle and very, very intelligent.
That's cool.
And I loved talking to him, and I definitely got high on the conversation. Well, I've really enjoyed this conversation.
Yeah,
Time has flown. It reminded me of my discussion with Joe, actually. Nice, relaxing, positive, enjoyable feeling.
That's because Brian and I popped a couple of pills before.
Relaxing with like-minded people. It's good. It's good to talk about things. I've really enjoyed it.
Welcome to London.
Are you looking at me? If you're in a public place, then you have every right to photograph and film as much as you like, and you will get private security and police tell you can't do this and you can't do that, but you need to